I almost never do these videos in more than one take, right? I just push the button and I start talking and that's that. But today, there have been so many interruptions. The sirens were so loud, I couldn't stand it. So this is take 2. Let's hope we can get through this in one shot. But first of all, I'm up in the attic, right? I'm a little hot, I'm a little sweaty, but I'm still cleaning out this space so that when the family is home in the evenings, I have a quiet place where maybe I won't burst into flames, where I can record my little videos. But while I was cleaning out, guess who I found? I found Bernie. I found a Bernie Sanders. Remember that time during the pandy when everybody was crocheting Bernie Sanders? Apparently, I crocheted one too. I don't even remember which inauguration that was, but he's cute. He has his little mask on, his hands in his pocket. Okay, Bernie, you go sit over there because we got to talk about Jennifer. Listen. Miss Jennifer Paeyeneers, down there in Stillwell, Oklahoma. Now, Stillwell, in case you don't know, is like a small Oklahoma town. They're kind of southern. It's apparently very close to Texas. And so they have like proper manners and proper this, and everybody goes to church and they get married and stay married and all that other stuff. Very traditional, right? Good for them. They probably even say good morning to strangers. We don't do that where I'm from. I mean, where I'm originally from, we do that. But in these parts, that's not a thing. So anyway, Jennifer meets this dude and she's like, oh, he's cute. He has spiky hair like Green Day. That's what they said. I am unfamiliar with Green Day. I assume it was a good spike and not a bad spike. Unclear. But Jennifer was young. She was like 19, 20, something like that. And she was like, you have cool hair and I'm cool too, even though my family is very traditional, but you seem like a good dude and I'm going to graduate high school and I'm going to start me a hair salon and I'm going to call it Wild Hair. So that's what she does. She starts a hair salon and her husband has little earrings, but the parents are like, he's a nice guy. We're going to like him anyway. He was raised by his grandmama and them because his mama, a heroin addict, terrible. He was born addicted to drugs in Hawaii. I didn't even, listen, in my mind, Hawaii is paradise. If you're born in Hawaii, I thought your life was supposed to go smooth after that. Apparently no, because your mama can be on heroin and she can drop dead when you're just a baby. And then you got to be raised by your grandmama and granddaddy. Well, that's what happened to Scott. Poor thing. So, but he came up. He's a nice dude. He gets a job over at the car stereo installation place. And he is like a car stereo installation superstar. He's revolutionizing the way they install stereos. And they're like, oh, Scott is amazing. You know what, Scott? If you unspike the hair and look less like Green Day and more like somebody who is not Green Day and wear polos and stuff, we can make you a supervisor. So he was like, oh, well, this is what I'm going to do. He got flat front khakis. I made that part up. But in my mind, he's wearing flat front khakis and polo shirts. And he got like very traditional hair. And he was like, you know, I'm going to need the Q3 reports and all that stuff. And his wife, Jennifer, was like, ew, I liked it when we was partying all the time. So he started going on business trips and doing business things. But she kept a wild lifestyle, including her brother's band. Now listen, her brother had this garage band. You've heard garage bands like I've heard garage bands. Overwhelmingly trash. Her brother's band apparently was pretty good and they were getting local gigs around the area. And the sister Jennifer was like, oh, I'm going to go to all the gigs and I'm going to drink all the beer and kiss all the boys and do all the whatever. So they get married. I mean, Jennifer and Scott are married. They're married 3-4 years. He's in the flat front khakis. She still has wild hair, the salon, and also on her head. And she's hanging out all the time with this band. Ultimately, her husband was like, listen, I'm going to need you to come home and make a casserole with the crumb topping. You know, with the crushed up potato chips or however they do, because I trust and believe that's how they eat in Oklahoma. We're more fresh vegetable centric around here, but I know how the middle of the country is. Enjoy your casserole with the cream of mushroom soup. So anyway, he wants her home making casseroles. She wants to be out in these streets, shaking her booty and going to the bar. Well, one time he comes home early from a business trip. He was so fancy. They had him on business trips. He comes home early from a business trip. And what does he find? His wife is not at home. He was like, oh, well, wait a minute. Let me just look in her BlackBerry. Because, you know, there was no like tracking with the phone back then. And he was like, oh, she's over here at the friend's house. She went over to her friend's house. Oh, and caught his wife in bed with another man. He's so angry, he smacks her face. And I was like, oh, he smacked her? There's domestic violence. But apparently, after the smackation, he felt terrible. And he was like, something has to change. This is not who I want to be. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to be more understanding. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to work hard to make this a very traditional marriage, like this very traditional town. Jennifer, on the other hand, she was like, well, you smacked me and I'm not really into that. And I'm not into traditional marriage. And I really like that band dude being into me, literally and figuratively. So I think I'm gonna work things out with the band dude. Only she said that to her friends. She didn't say that to her husband. So she got with her husband. She got with her little band friend. This dude, 19 years old, in her brother's band. Okay, you a grown woman, Jennifer. You need to leave them teenagers alone. Even though I'm sure they're like all athletic and have good stamina and all of that. Child, nothing but trouble. So one night, the band comes over and is rehearsing in Jennifer and Scott's garage. And then they leave. Everything is cool. Everybody's living happily ever after. Jennifer and Scott go to bed. And then there's a knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. She said, oh, the knock came so soon after my brother and his friends left. I just thought it was my brother. He forgot something. So she's laying in bed and she hears bang, 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 gunshots. She said, oh, 911, somebody has shot my husband. So the police come and they're like, oh, there he is, nearly dead on the floor. Gunshots in the front, gunshots in the back. And she's crying and screaming and she's hysterical. And she's like, oh, my purse is also gone. And look, there's some suspicious footprints there in the living room. You should take those pictures of those. I'm going to go to the hospital. So she goes on over to the hospital where her husband promptly dies. And so she's hysterical and weeping and wailing. You know, it was life insurance, though, because she was all about that life insurance money. They didn't say that. I just decided that. So the cops are investigating and they're like, this is a small town. This is Stillwell, Oklahoma. We really don't have any crime. What could have happened? So a little time goes by and they're like, we do have these pictures of shoe prints. So they identified these special Nikes and they start asking people. Then this one dude comes forward and was like, I have a little confession to make. I was talking to my dad, and since we're nice traditional people, my dad said that I have to come in here and tell you about the bad thing I might have did. And the police were like, do tell, son. So he was like, you know, the brother with the band, he's the one who killed his brother-in-law. He killed his sister's husband. And so the cops were like, really? I'm not sure we believe you. We're going to wire you up and we're going to let you go talk to your friend and then get him to confess on tape. So this dude is like, okay, I'm going to go talk to the friend. So he goes and talks to his friend and he was like, why are you coming to me with this now? Because you know both me and you was involved in the murder. And the confessor was like, okay, I didn't really say all of, okay. So the cops call in the band, all the band members and the brother, and the cops was like, hey, listen, have a seat. We got some questions for you. By the way, do you recognize these shoes? And he was like, no, listen. These are the shoes that they figured out the shoe print. They called Nike. They figured out what shoes they were. Air Penny. I don't know what that means, but it was some shoes. And so they took some Air Pennies and they were like, do you recognize these shoes? He's like, where'd you find my shoes? And they were like, gotcha. Because these are the murder shoes. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. So what had happened was, my bandmate, his sister was having trouble with her husband, and I was having a little bit of an affair, just a teensy little affair with her husband. And she told me if I shot him, then me and her could live happily ever after, because she could never get a divorce because that would be bad manners. It's better to murder than to get a divorce. For the life of me, I have never understood that logic. Also, her family was very prominent in the town. Oh, she was part of the flower dynasty of the town. There was a flower shop and her parents owned it, so everybody knew her name. So she couldn't be out here retaining her flower dynasty with, I'm sure, with a crown. I guarantee you there was a crown. I have no proof, but I just decided. But she was like, I can't be out here, the flower queen, and divorced. If I'm a widow, though, everybody will feel bad for me. So they were like, okay. So they put the shooter in jail. The husband was very dead, rest in peace. And they were like, Jennifer, girl, you going on trial. So she goes up there and she's like, I don't know what happened. It was an accident. I didn't have nothing to do with it. I wasn't there. Who you gonna believe, me or these lying co-conspirators? So she gets convicted of conspiracy. And I was like, oh, well, all's well that ends well. Here's the thing, though. When she got convicted, they only gave her 9 years. How you plot to kill somebody and only do 9 years? And she was like in her early 20s when she went in. So by the time she went out, she was young enough to still have like a whole other life, which hopefully she reformed herself. I don't know what happened, but you know what I do know happened? When she got out, she went right back to Stillwell, Oklahoma and opened a new hair salon. Would you get your hair done by a murderer? The whole reason that I wanted to do this story is because after she got out of prison, after she was convicted and everybody knew she was guilty, she just reopened a hair salon and went on with her life. Imagine the advice this lady has to give. You know, she up in the salon smoking a cigarette. Remember that time I killed my husband? Child, let me tell you. What we do in prison that's not how it goes in prison. Is she hard now? Does she know how to make hooch? Does she have a recipe book? Can she make like toilet casseroles? I don't know. The whole thing is crazy to me. Those Oklahomians, they must be real nice. Because let me tell you something. If you're a convicted murderer, I think that you should get every chance to remain in prison long term. If you're guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, I mean, if he was a bad dude, he did slap her that one time. But you shouldn't be killed for slapping somebody unless it was me. Because if you slap me, well, we can't guarantee what's going to happen with your life. But I guarantee you, it's not going to be good. What is going to be good is if you hit like and subscribe and we show up here tomorrow and we talk more true crime. And maybe then I will sweat less. Lord, it's hot up here. Okay, I'm going to go find a cooler spot in the house and I will see you later. Bye.